Hello and welcome. Today we've got something simple for you. So sit down, take a round, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another Ask Kev Anything, the show in which I answered all of your questions, or most of your questions. There's a lot of questions to answer, but keep them coming. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy. So we're going to answer your questions here. As you can see, Brock here is going crazy here, running around. So if you hear him running around, it's because he's going crazy, running around. Alright, so let's get started with the questions. First question is from SpideyFan2010, and he writes, what are your thoughts about the Spider-Man reboot? I heard the Spider-Man reboot was going to be based around the Ultimate Comics. What do you think of this? Yeah, I already actually addressed this in one of my videos in the Spider-Man 4 Fallout video, but I'll say a little bit more on it the more information we get here. Apparently he's got a lower budget than what many expect. I think around 60 million, which in, my opinion is just absolutely retarded. They're going the way of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Okay, yippee-di-yay, so what? I think the general consensus of what seems to be going on at Sony and is that they bought this this huge strap-on dildo. Okay, this huge strap-on dildo, and it's thick. It's probably this thick wide, this dildo, and it's probably about, I don't know, 2 feet long, something like that. I haven't seen the strap-on personally, but I know of its existence, and it's obvious through what we hear online. And they wrote on this dildo clusterfuck. So clusterfuck's written across this 2-foot dildo, and they've pretty much continued to fuck Spider-Man up the ass. So yeah. So they're using this clusterfuck 2-foot long strap-on dildo, the Sony Corporation. They're strapping it on, and basically fucking Spider-Man up the ass. That's what they're doing. The more we hear about this, the more it just seems more and more retarded this movie's going to be. The more and more, I don't know if they're going for the Twilight fans or shit like that. Makes no sense. The only cool thing I've heard about this is that it might be done in 3D. Some people may think, 3D, it's overplayed right now. I think 3D is a good idea for any movie right now. I'll tell you the reason why. Because piracy is so rampant online. People are downloading cam jobs. People are downloading, getting screeners and whatnot, putting these online. These things are definitely affecting the movie industry. And with 3D movies, you kind of gotta go to the theater and watch them. You can't really download a cam job of a 3D movie and expect it to be any fucking good. And if you do that and you do find it good, then maybe you got these fucked up eyes that see 3D where I don't see it. So so in general, I think the 3D is a good idea, to make money, because obviously they're going to need to make money off this movie. If they're only putting 60 million into the budget, I don't think Spider-Man's going to be doing much of any type of swinging. So, they want to make money, they got to get a gimmick in there somehow, because a lot of the people who actually made the original franchise so big, people forget. People are like, oh, Spider-Man, for kids. No, the majority of people went to go see the movies. The 3 that have come out thus far are not kids. They're fans. Fans of the genre, fans of Spider-Man, fans of the comic books. These are not the Twilight people, you know what I mean? People who go watch Twilight that apparently Sony's trying to please, you know what I mean? Because you hear, look, we've got Logan Lerman as Peter Parker. This is a rumor going around right now. Not that I'm saying he wouldn't make a good Ultimate Peter Parker, because he does kind of look the part. I'm not saying that. But then there are rumors they want to bring in that guy there. Looking down there with the rumors. Okay, Mark Webb, director. We know that. The guy hasn't really done anything super amazing. Then again, other than Evil Dead for us horror fans, neither had Sam Raimi. So maybe Mark will do a good job with it, although I can't really see it being that great, because if it's based on Ultimate and based on people from Twilight liking it, I don't really know. Then you got Robert Pattinson Then people are like, bring Robert Pattinson in, bring Laurie in, bring Laurie Lutner in. And I'm like, okay, if you bring in Robert Pattinson in this movie and you bring in Laurie Lutner in this movie, obviously the villain choice has to be Morbius and Man-Wolf. So, I mean, if Sony's really looking to fuck over Spider-Man, you know, with that giant dildo, do that. Bring in Pattinson, bring in Lutner, and we'll have a fucking emo Morbius in there. You know, being like, oh, I love you so much. Oh, Mary Jane, I love to love you. Oh, look at my teeth, I love to love. And then you have that fucking, Lutner playing fucking Man-Wolf. Like, no, werewolves are better. Look at my crystal. Jameson, you never understood me as a child. I hate everything. Be like a big fucking emo Spider-Man fest, man. Be fucked up. But that's pretty much what Sony's pushing us to. So yeah. And is it only me, or does Lutner have a nose? It looks like a bat nose. You know, that points out like a big snout, like a pig nose kind of. Or, you know, yeah. I don't know. Just the first time I saw the guy, I'm like, fuck, man. He's got a thick nose. Anyways, so enough about that. So I don't really know why they're trying to appeal to the Twilight people. And why they're saying, you know, like, we want to appeal to the genre, to the, I don't know, the emo kids or the goth kids. It's kind of like NASCAR going out to goths, you know what I'm saying? And saying like, you know what, man, we need to bring in some more of them goth kids to watch our sport. The goths are like, oh yeah, NASCAR. Oh, it's so like the way of life is going, you know, it's like the rat race around the track. It's so like life. I hate life. You know, like, what the fuck is that? Seriously. Sony, get your fucking shit together. Anyway, next question. It's from Aiden. And he writes, how much do you spend on comics every month? On average, I probably spend about 50 to 70 bucks a month, roughly. Something like that, I think. Hope Amy's not watching this. I don't think she knows how much I spend. So, if Amy's watching this, I spend $5 a month. I buy one Spider-Man comic. And I cut it into 3. And then I get, 3 months. So that's why my perception of the new storylines are so fucked up, because I'm all confused. Missing shit. But if anybody else is watching, it's probably about 70 bucks a month. Next question here is from Kopaka Nuva. And he writes, hey Kev, are you upset that Venom's not getting a spin-off anymore? And who do you think should play him in a reboot? Also, what do you think about Spawn? Alright, 2 questions here. Who do I think should play Venom if he was in the new Spider-Man movie? I would have to go with Topher Grace. I know people are like, Topher Grace? He didn't do a good job as Venom in the other movie. Because Topher Grace's Venom was based on the Ultimate Venom. So if we're actually going to see a Venom here in this new movie at all, I think it should be Topher, because I think he played a good rendition of what Ultimate Venom's all about. Yeah, I think that would work. If it was like a classic movie Venom, I'd go something like Brock Lesnar. Not that the guy could necessarily act, but he fucking looks exactly like Eddie Brock used to look, man, back in Amazing 300. So, look-wise, he has it. And here is a email from Silver Surfer. He writes, I'm from Germany, watch lots of your films on YouTube. I'm a subscriber. My question concerns a way of dealing, especially with their reaction, is when do you tell them about it? He's talking about people in general, and when you discuss your passionate comics with them. Because he says he's a comic fan as well, and mostly Marvel, and he collects the classic Marvel figures and all that stuff. And he says, I can't really tell anybody about that without getting laughed at, or being told that it's very embarrassing. And I was way old for that. Exceptions are good friends or parts of the family. But in general, that's how it is. How do you handle this? What is your opinion as a man that is even is married? Best regards, and thank you for your videos. Hoping to get an answer. Alright, Silver Surfer. From what I can understand, you're getting flack for being a toy/comic book collector by some people. The people who give you flack are not really your friends. Number 1. And the whole notion that you can't or won't get a woman because you collect toys is fucking ludicrous. Like, during my 20s to my 30s, I got more ass than a toilet seat. And I've always been collecting this shit and always very open about it. So it doesn't matter what you collect or what your hobbies are in reality. You know, unless you're into taxidermy and shit like that, and people might be a little bit, a little weary of you. But it has nothing to do with that. It's who you are as a person. You know what I mean? That's just basically it. I mean, if you're an interesting person, then, when you're a fun person, you're outgoing, you do shit, you know what I mean? You have fun. You're going to attract women, you're going to attract friends, and the friends are going to be cool with you. If you're this closet fucking type person that doesn't socialize, that doesn't want to do anything, that's scared to try anything new, then yeah, well, basically you're going to have issues. Nothing to do with the fact you collect toys or comic books. It's just your personality. So if you have a good personality, outgoing personality, chicks will drop at your feet, man. Worry not. Worry not. Next question is from Mario Fanboy, and he writes, who would win a fight between Black Cat and Catwoman, and why? I'm going to go with Catwoman, even though I like better Black Cat, look-wise. I think the Catwoman has more experience than the Black Cat. I think she's more dangerous than the Black Cat. She's got that whip, she's got that attitude, you know what I mean? She hangs around with the big boy criminals, with Joker and the gang, while as Black Cat kind of just hangs around alone, and tries to get into Peter's pants all the time. You know what I mean? If you can hang with people like the Joker, Harvey Dent, Two-Face, hardcore villains like that, and you can hang around with them and they respect you, then you are pretty fucking badass. So I'd have to say Catwoman on that one, and that's my reason why. Next question is from Mike Colors, and he writes, hey man, I have 2 questions for you if you can help. One, is it really worth getting a comic graded? I've heard good things and bad things about it. And 2, how can I tell if the comic is a first print? I've gotten comics from eBay and want to know if there's any way to make sure I'm not getting screwed. Well, mostly if you open up a comic book on the first page, usually in the bottom where it says published and all that, it'll say the printing down there, it'll say the edition. It's usually one way of knowing. Some comic books actually have the printing on the top. It'll say second printing, like on the front of the cover. So there are 2 ways right there. Another way is if there's alternate covers for different printings, you know that way too. So those are pretty much the ways that you would know. Usually the inside's the best way to know for sure, especially if the comic book's been reprinted with the same cover and has no other indication on it. Your other question about getting comics graded, if you're going to read it, no, it's totally worthless, naturally, because you're sealing it in a case. And you can't open the case. If you break the seal, the case is no longer good, and it's just as if you never graded it to begin with. So if you're collecting comics and you want to actually read the shit, no, get them graded. There's no point in it. Now, if you want to sell a comic that you have, yes, having it graded always helps, because people out there who are just, either rich or, probably incredibly wealthy, sometimes they'll have a reading copy and want a mint copy, and they go by the grade. So if you're selling comics, getting them graded always helps the aftermarket, or most of the times it does. But if you're just a casual collector, then no, there's no real point in doing it, because you defeat the whole purpose because you can't read anything into it. It's like hockey cards, baseball cards, football cards, basketball, whatever sport is, they get graded, and then it's okay to get graded because the cards put in the see-through plastic, you can turn that around, read the back, read the front just as well as you could if it were just loose in your hand. Comic book, you gotta open it up, read through it, and you can't do that if it's sealed in case. So that's pretty much my opinion. Next email is from Starscreamer. No Starscream, just Starscream. There's a few Starscreams flying around now. And he writes, do you have all of the GoBot puzzlers? And do you have Fortress Maximus? How much did you pay for them? Have you played with them, or are they still unopened? I had the puzzlers at one point, all of them sealed individually. I don't have them anymore. So I never really saw him combined, puzzler combined, like in my face, like look at it. It's kind of sad. Now you're making me want to go buy one. Maybe. Maybe I'll find someone that has one that I can play with. But would I really play with it? I'm kind of old to play with a toy. I would transform it. But no, to answer your question, I can't really tell you much about Puzzler. I've had him sealed, so not much I can say. Fort Maxinger, on the other hand, yes, I do have one. He's in his box. I opened him once, just to take him out, look at him, put him on the shelf for a few seconds, you know what I mean, and admire the size of him, but do I play with him? No. He's in the box hiding from sunlight and other ailments. So yeah. Next question is from Megatron444, and he writes, who do you think is better, Galvatron or Megatron, and who do you think could win a fight? Alright. And do you think you would ever do a one-on-one on Transformer characters? One-on-one on Transformer characters, something I've been asked, quite a bit over the last few years. Would I do them or not? Maybe. I'm not saying I wouldn't do them. If the demand is there, I would do it, just to please the fans. Because it's all about pleasing the fans, number one. Who would win a fight between Megatron and Galvatron? Who's my favorite? I like Megatron nostalgically because he's the original bad guy, my favorite Transformer, and the best looking Transformer in my opinion in both modes, especially in gun mode. He looks beautiful. Galvatron, I like his personality more in the series because he was crazy, seeing a psychiatrist on a psychiatrist planet, he was totally fucked up, always picking on Cyclonus and Scourge and the boys. I like that. It was funny. It was entertaining. Toy though, the toy really was lacking a lot. It was really just a big bulky blah. It didn't really look anything like in a series. And I knew they had to get Megatron out of there, gun mode because of the laws and all that, and bring in a futuristic gun. It didn't look like a real gun and all that stuff. So, I understand why the switch over was made. But I guess personality-wise, I like Galvatron more. Toy-wise, I like Megatron more. Who would win between a fight between the two of them? I think Megatron would win solely because, in essence, he is Galvatron, but he's a lot smarter. Not smarter, he's just more stable. Then again, Galvatron's paranoia and total insanity, might cause him to win the fight because he's just so damn crazy. And I don't think he'd really go around and retreat a lot like Megatron used to do. But I'm still going to go with Megatron because of the smarts. But Galvatron would definitely give him a good run for his money. Now here's the next question. It's from Derek. And he writes, so what did you think about the new Green Lantern cartoon movie? Green Lantern First Light. Awesome. The best DC animated movie ever. Bar none. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And not because I'm a Green Lantern fan either. It was just good. It was just plain old good. It wasn't too kiddie. It had a lot of mature stuff happening in it. And, the story was told well. And it really amalgamated a whole bunch of comic books, like a whole bunch of eras, into one story that actually made sense. And if you haven't seen it, please go watch that movie. Green Lantern First Light. Awesome. And the Blu-ray's full of special features, such as interviews with Jeff Johns, talk a lot about Darkest Night. Blackest Night. What am I saying? Dark Night. The Blackest Night, just happening right now in Green Lantern. Talk a lot about that. Talk a whole lot about different things. I think it's like 5 hours of additional footage on it. It's crazy. Very good. Worth the money. And another question here is from Ski. And he writes, I'm a real nostalgic faggot when it comes to comic movies, so anytime I see these new movies come out, I get angry and mad because they take things on such a weird and retarded rides. For instance, The Dark Knight, SpiderMan 3, just about anything that wasn't made in the 90s. I also have the same problem with video games today versus those of my childhood. Kev, is there something wrong with me? Yes, there is something wrong with you, and I'll tell you why. You just said here that you think that a retarded ride movie or comic book movie is Dark Knight and Spider-Man 3. Basically, you say anything that wasn't made in the 90s. My opinion, Dark Knight is a phenomenal movie. Anything was made in the 90s. The worst comic book movies of all time were made in the 90s. Guess what? Kind of what I'm getting at. Have you forgotten about Batman and Robin? Have you forgotten about Batman Forever? The Phantom? You know, all this fucking shit that came out in the 90s? It was atrocious. It was fucking garbage. A lot of the 90s comic book movies were fucking garbage. Video game wise, I do miss some of the classics. I'm not going to lie to you. But would I rather be playing Uncharted 2 for an hour and a half, or I'd rather be playing Pac-Man for an hour and a half? I think I'd rather be playing Uncharted 2 for an hour and a half. So I think video games have actually gotten better over the years. I'm still nostalgic, don't get me wrong. I still like to play the old games. But, yeah, you might be a little cuckoo, man. You might be, I don't know. It kind of depends. I can kind of see where you're coming from, but to say that the 90s held a lot of good comic book movies, I don't agree with that at all. The only two movies in the 90s from comic book wise that I can think of at the top of my head that were actually good. Are there any? Did X-Men come out in 99? I can't remember now. That'd be okay. Batman came out in 89, so I can't count him. And Batman Returns wasn't bad. I liked it. But that wasn't bad. But the rest of the stuff, most of it, pure garbage. So that's about it for the questions for today. I'm running a little long here in my rambling. So, on a side note, the Help Decompose Get to the Great White Shark campaign is in full force online. And you can go on my website and actually view where we're at. And not only donations, but also in my weight loss. So please visit the site. Keep sending in questions. Should be a few videos up this week, hopefully, if I get the time to put them all up. And for the Olympics, go Canada, go! Our Canadian hockey team is going for gold. So, till next time. Later.